Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to our CMO Roundtable. My name's Maura. I'm the CMO here at Qualified, and I am joined by two incredible marketing leaders. We have Shannon, who's the CMO at Asana. Hello, Shannon.
Hi.
And we have Kishore, who's the co-founder of Goldcast. So welcome, you guys.
Hi, Maura. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Shannon.
Yeah, great to be here.
So I am so excited about this session because Asana and Goldcast are two of my favorite pieces of technology, and they're two of the pieces of tech that are absolutely integral to Pipeline Summit AI coming to life. Asana behind the scenes leading up to it, and then Goldcast, of course, as our streaming platform. So super excited to talk with you guys about all things AI and what's on your mind from a marketing perspective. So before we go into kind of how you're folding AI into your strategies for next year, one thing that's super exciting is you guys have all brought new AI products into market over the last couple of months. So would love to tell the audience a little bit about kind of what your AI products and capabilities are before we go in. Kishore, you guys just launched Goldcast Content Lab just a few weeks ago. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that and kind of how it works from an AI perspective?
Yeah, for sure, Maura. I think the whole context behind the launch was that it's so tough to have these kinds of conversations, right? And at least we believe that events produce such authentic content for marketers. And a lot of times it goes to the website as an on-demand content for 60 minutes, and nobody really tries to consume that because it's so long and it's so tough to consume. The whole sort of concept behind the AI Content Lab is how do we take these video recordings from events, be it field marketing events, webinars, product launches, and use AI to generate snackable content post-event, be it video clips, be it blog posts, etc., so that we can actually generate a lot more views and engagement because people are like us are used to a lot more short-form clips, etc. That's a quick sort of overview of the launch. We're excited to see how the customer is using the product, but yeah, that's a quick overview.
That's awesome. You guys are evolving from an event platform to a full content platform.
Yes. Yes.
And Shannon, tell us about Asana AI. Nothing in this event would be possible without Asana, and you guys have kind of woven in a lot of cool little tips and tricks and shortcuts into the platform. Can you tell us a little bit about how you guys have woven AI into the Asana platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So Asana is the world's leading enterprise work management platform. So we essentially make work easier, make more transparent, work more productive for everyone. And so AI has seamlessly kind of layered into our platform. So if you think about how AI makes it easier for people to do things, AI and Asana Intelligent makes it easier for people to do the work. We like to say it helps people work smarter by automating things like status updates, by automating things like the health check to see how well your project is doing. All of this is really designed to automate the more tedious stuff so humans can really do the creative stuff that we all love in our jobs day to day.
Well, I think the kind of unifying factor between both of your AI products is it's just making everything faster and more efficient. What I'd love to hear about is how you brought those products to life into the market. I remember a year ago was kind of, we did our first Pipeline Summit, and then a few weeks later was ChatGPT emerged, and there was this frenzy of how are we going to weave this into our product roadmap? How are we going to bring this to market? How are we going to be seen as innovators with our customers? But there's this fine line that you also don't want to build or launch products too quickly, that it's seen as just an AI flash in the pan or a trend or something that wasn't well thought out. And there's been so much rapid development from an AI perspective. We've all brought in AI products to life this past year. I would love to hear from you, Shannon. How did you think about bringing your AI products to life and ensuring that there was trust with your customer base when you kind of revealed your new AI functionality?
Yeah, I love this question because I think, again, like I know exactly what you're talking about, Maura. And of course, everyone knew about AI and we'd all been talking about AI from a product roadmap perspective. Then all of a sudden it was like, boom, go. What's your story? What's your launch? So I think for us, the good news about Asana is we had been thinking about it for a long time, and the way our platform, our infrastructure was built, the work graph, it was really easy for AI to be an effective tool. I think a couple of things though. I think people were a little skeptical. Like, what is this? Like, the meme you would hear is like, are robots going to take over type of thing? And so at Asana, when we launched the AI capabilities in our product, we also launched some guiding principles for how we think of AI. And you can read them on our website, but fundamentally we believe, we use the term AI has joined the team. That AI is not going to replace us and what makes us unique and special and the ability we have as marketers or other sort of professionals or knowledge workers in the space. What we are going to do is help it make it easier for us to unlock that amazing creativity, the things that we do on top of it. And so that's when we were bringing our products to market and we were launching it. That was really important for the messaging, is that this is going to make you more productive. These two things working together to really drive maximum business productivity versus an either or, and throw out everything you've been doing. AI is the future. Is it future? Yes, but it is bringing us along from where we've come in the past.
That's fantastic. How about you, Kishore? Did you see any hesitancy from your customers as you released the new products? I know someone from our team is kind of part of the user testing experience along the way. But how is it received from your customer base?
Yeah, well, so I think, we have, I would say 50% customers from the mid-market segment who are a lot more interested to adopt anything very quickly, because these teams are so lean and the CMOs and CEOs have such large mandate for next year. So they're always trying to figure out, how do I do more with less? So they're very quick to adopt these tools, and they didn't have a lot of, inclination towards security or data privacy, etc. But as we go to enterprise companies, the first question that we get asked is, how do we make sure that this data doesn't get used for other models being used out there, right? So how do we have a very private cloud model ensured that make sure that these models are used only for their client and not for other clients becomes a very important mandate that you have to get out of the market. So there's a difference in response we saw from mid-market to enterprise clients. But overall, I think to what Shannon said, I think the messaging we used was, it'll help you save so much time compared to ensuring that your teams get replaced. And that is very powerful enough for marketing teams to adopt the tools that they're using.
Yeah, I mean, especially right now, we all could use more time, more resources. Shannon, I'd love to kind of double click on something you said. And we were talking about this during our prep call. Like a year ago, there was this AI revolution. And we all were like, is it going to replace people on our team? Is it going to replace like our time and make things better? And we just thought the whole world was going to change. And then we look at today, and we've learned a lot over the last year. A lot of the tech that we use has unveiled their AI technology. We've started to use it more in our everyday lives. But I don't know if the world has changed maybe as drastically as we thought it would a year ago today. What's your take on kind of how AI is helping marketers, and how impactful has it been this past year?
Yeah, I love this question too, because I think we are changing, right? But we're changing, and I think maybe the AI, the potential for AI is definitely something that all of us, especially those of us that have worked in tech for a long time, we're like, okay, this is definitely a paradigm shift. But again, it's like, how are we integrating AI into the tools that we use today? And so from a marketing perspective, it has not replaced my marketing team. Like, it has not replaced, again, that creativeness, that connection with our customer, that deep understanding of our product, and the ability to make messaging pithy and resonating and unique. But what it has done is automate things that, like, I don't really enjoy doing in the first place, right? Like writing job descriptions. Now, it may not write it 100%, but it might get it 85%. And then I can put that 10, 15% on top that makes it unique to Asana or unique to what I'm looking for. It will give me thought starter ideas for a brainstorm meeting, right? Again, things that are going to like help with time. In the Asana product in particular, we are going to be launching something where if you have a project, AI can help write your status update, right? Like, that's amazing. Like, you have all the information in there. If AI can help make the status update, and I can kind of, make it, make sure it's correct and maybe add some stuff, like, those are really great time-saving things that enable me to think, all right, how do I connect with my customers better? How do I have that messaging that's going to be, in that bullseye that really connects with them? That's why I got into marketing to do. So I've seen it kind of help with like the more stuff that I didn't want to do anyway, so I can be more creative, so my team can be more creative.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Being able to focus on those big ticket items and viewing it as more like an assistant or a co-pilot. How about you, Kishore? If you look back a year ago, has AI been more impactful, less impactful to a marketer's life than you thought it would originally be?
Yeah. For us, the particular use case more of helping marketers repurpose the video content post-event, right? Typically, companies have these internal agencies or internal video teams who get blocked by so many video requests coming their way, right? They just like constantly figuring out what video should I work on, etc., etc. So the whole tool sort of help marketers become video editors themselves. so that all these internal teams can work on really high priority work, right? For example, if Craig is clicking on an event tomorrow, right? Their team should focus on that particular request rather than figuring out how should we repurpose the webinar post that happened a couple of weeks back. So to Shannon's point, I think it has really helped cut down the repetitive tasks that we are all used to doing and focus our efforts into these high priority tasks so that we get our creative minds are actually used for that rather than working on those things. That's how I think about it, and that's how we're seeing our customers do it as well. So just excited to see what's happening next year. The one role, though, I would say that we are excited about to see if it works is to scale the SDR team, right? Sometimes SDR teams report into marketing, right? And there's a lot of manual work involved there as well, right? In terms of figuring out contacts, how do you look at LinkedIn profiles, personalizing the reach outs. So thinking through that also is very exciting, but that one role I think could also have a lot of uplift through AI as a whole technology.
One thing that I'd love to pick your brains on are, as this new AI technology emerges, both for marketing and for sales team, how willing are you guys to let go of some things? This is one thing I've thought about a lot because as marketers, we want to scale, we want to be more efficient, but I'll speak for myself. I'm kind of a control freak. Like I want to make sure that I don't know if I want to let email loose on my buyers to write the whole message and do it all for me. I want to make sure our buyers are seeing the right message and they're seeing at the right time and it's personalized and it's high quality. That's something that's so important to all of our brands. So how do you guys think about letting go a little bit to AI? Is that just where we're headed? Or how do you balance kind of AI that gives you that feedback loop versus AI that you just can train, but then send off and cross your fingers that it works? I think that's the thing that's the hardest for me, is learning to let go a little bit when it's customer facing content.
Shannon, you go first.
Yeah, so I think that's really, so I totally, so maybe there's something that we have in common all going into marketing with a little bit of control freakiness. It has, I agree. So I kind of look at it two ways. One, for me, it's been how do I empower my team to experiment, which is not exactly what you're asking, but it's kind of similar, right? Because they're creating this content that's customer facing. And so how do we create a culture of experimentation and wanting to understand this and take it from the unknown to the known from our marketing. And so that's kind of a cultural shift that we're driving. I think from your perspective, though, that goes back to I play with it a lot, and it can write really good things, and it also can write things that maybe aren't perfect yet. And for me, it's how do we use it as a way to get a few steps faster down the line, not from zero to completely done. And that's where the humans come in, and that's where the people have come in that can vet it and can really understand how it is going. And so that's why I don't see us giving it over right away or anytime soon, but it gives us ideas. It tries some new things, and it will help us do the basics faster. And so that's what I really want to encourage the team to use and experiment. And so we can't, and so who knows, maybe someday we'll write it completely, but we're not there quite yet. And it really is the humans plus AI together.
Yeah. Just one point I'll add to what Shannon said, Maura, is that I was actually recently looking at the amount of steps it takes to create a campaign, right? Be it a landing page, be it a copy, be it a creative asset, right? And the amount of steps it takes to get there. Sometimes it's so hard for a CEO or a CXO to understand the steps involved in those kinds of things, right? And there are a bunch of tasks that just get done every month, every week, all alone, right? Reporting, etc. So I'm excited about automating those things in general so that the teams can free up to do high value tasks rather than doing it for the sake of doing it. So this is just one point. I'm very deeply involved in looking at our own campaigns for next year's planning to ensure that those things can be taken out of someone's plate.
Well, I think it's been an interesting time for us as marketers because we've all had to rethink our strategies, our tech stack, how we do things, where there's probably room for more efficiencies. I feel like it's pushed us to not just do the same old the way we used to. Kishore, would love to talk more about quality, kind of what we were going back to earlier, because with the evolution of Content Lab, we were saying you've gone from an events platform to a full content platform. And I think we're at this interesting place in both our consumer lives and our business lives where there is content everywhere. We go into Netflix, we go into all the streaming platforms, there's so much content there. And you go into LinkedIn and all of a sudden every company can create videos with a snap, they can create blog posts in a snap. So how do you think about making sure that you're still focused on quality from a content perspective? And how do you think that in the coming year, certain companies can make sure that they're still creating compelling content and kind of cutting through the noise? Because it's pretty noisy out there right now.
Well, it's a very... Honestly, Maura, we haven't figured that out. To be honest with you, we are also going through the same exercise of what is working and what's not working. And it's so tough to generate pipeline right now. It's just so hard in this economy to figure out what's working and what's not working. From our sense, I think what we are excited about is, I think two things are happening, right? One is, in general, without or with AI, the cost of content production has just decreased so much, right? With iPhone, anybody can record a content and post on LinkedIn, and AI just supercharged the whole content editing part in general. I think the bet we are making is, how do we make sure that we bring authentic conversations like what we are having right now, right, with potential prospects, with potential customers, and bring that voice to the market, right? And in general, the one particular area where I'm excited about is video as an asset. I think multiple research have proven that video is a lot more effective in helping people retain the information than just text. So how do we bring such conversations like this and do a lot more derivative content out of these videos is one thing we're thinking about. And I think that probably is what the future will look like in terms of how do you become a lot more human first in your content approach, because everything will look the same after a point of time in some form. So that's like the big bet we are making in the next year of sorts.
How about you, Shannon? This is a bit of a pivot. Just, it doesn't need to be AI specific, but what are you guys focused on from a content perspective to kind of cut through the noise?
Yeah, so there's so much content, right? Like there's content we produce, there's content that I have to consume. And I think, going back to AI humans, what does it mean for marketers? Like, I have to tell you, I don't want to say it's easy to create content because it's not, but it is emotion that most marketers are comfortable with. What is not as easy is creating content that actually resonates with your customers and that they find differentiated and meaningful. And so what I've kind of been pushing my team for, it's not enough to create a deck or a podcast or a session for event, whatever flavor of content, fine. There is no substitute for sitting across the table at someone who has a virtual checkbook that they can buy your product, service, whatever, and see how they respond to it, right? And so that's where it's less about creating the content. It's more about is this the right message and meaningful? And that's something that AI can't do yet, right? That's not something that I can create a deck and it can help me iterate it, but what we can't do is actually sit with one of our customers and tell me if it resonates or not. And so that's where it's how do we do less, better, different? That's what we're really focused on. So it's not just about flooding the channels. It's if we have 3 really good things that nobody but Asana can offer and a value prop that people can only get from us, that's when we've achieved success. And that's really what we're focused on for next year. And where does AI come in? Well, AI is going to help us maybe with some ideas and help us with the basics, but it's not going to crack that magic code quite yet. So that's where the humans come in.
Well, that's so well said. Well, I'm sure you did it. I had this mistake very early on where we have a checklist of things that the team has to produce every month. Every month, 3 blog articles, 1 podcast, 1 event. And I've just said it just doesn't work after a point of time. So less things, different, high quality to what Shannon said. I think that totally resonates with what at least we hope to do next year.
Yeah, totally. Because it confuses your customer and it confuses your field too, right? Most of us, if you're have a B2B motion, your salespeople consume your content just as much as your customers do. And if you have a lot of stuff that's not differentiated, they don't know what to use. They don't know what to send to their customers, right? So it just compounds the problem even worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a time where people could easily turn to quantity because it's easier to produce now. But
exactly.
What I'm hearing from you guys is, how do we focus on quality? How do we focus on the messaging that resonates in those? And I think also distribution. This is something we can be guilty of as well. You create this great piece, you consider it, you mark it done in Asana because nothing feels better than marking a project done in Asana.
So good.
Unicorn. But the project is not done then. The project needs to be done when you have hit certain KPIs in terms of eyeballs or engagement or metrics. So I think that's something we're trying to really push ourselves on, is that distribution model, and how can we make sure we're thinking about that as well.
Just one point, one of our, I think, small angel investors sent this article recently where he said, this company used AI to generate 1,000 pieces of content every month and their SEO went up by 100% or whatever, right? And those things really sort of create FOMO amongst the team, figuring out, should we also do that, right? But it doesn't work in the long term. So I just think quality doesn't work in a lot of these areas. We just instead of
That's great. Well, I think you guys have started talking about looking forward to 2024. We're all in budget planning. We're in strategic planning for next year. One question somebody asked me recently that I'd love to ask you guys is, are you going to have a line item in your budget for AI experimentation? Is that something that resonates with you? Shannon, would love to start with you.
So I think it does, right? And they talked about building that culture of experimentation and feeling like wanting to get more comfortable with and really pushing the boundaries of this and what it means for marketers, right? Because I feel like no one has figured it out. So it's like, why don't it be us? Like, let's make sure. Here's what I will say though, Maura, like I'm really looking at my vendors and being like, what is your AI strategy, right? It's less about like buying a new vendor that's going to fix AI. It's like, no. Like if you are going to be a strategic vendor to me, a strategic partner in driving my marketing business, telling me how AI is going to supercharge the tools I already use today, ones I'm comfortable with that are integrated in my system. So that's the conversation that I'm having, less about, is there something new AI thing that I need to buy?
Mm-hmm. How about you, Kishore?
Yeah, similar. But we don't have a line item in the budget, but the three areas that we are actively looking at tools to help us in general is, one is campaign operations in general, right? Can we effectively supercharge our campaign ops from landing pages, etc.? That is one. Second is, are there tools like qualified ABM platforms that can help in identifying account signals based on like a lot of data available in the market to see which account should we go after? And third is just content distribution in general, right? How do we make sure that we increase our distribution of our content? So overall, three areas we're looking at, but no line item in general in our budget item.
That's great. We're thinking about it the same way. You need the vendors that you trust to have a point of view. You need them to weave it into their technology. It's not just buying some flashy new thing that can help you do the 1,000 blog posts. It's making sure the tech you guys are already using has that woven in. Kishore, would love to kind of expand on, you were talking about some of your pipe gen strategies and how you guys are thinking about account identification. How are you thinking about using AI to help you with pipeline generation as we go into 2024? Anything that you're super excited about?
It's a good question, Maura. So in terms of pipe gen, I think one thing we are actively looking into is we have so much data in terms of who's doing what across the different kinds of activities, right? Let's say, for example, Okta, right? Somebody from Okta came to an event, they went to the website. So we are just figuring out how do we identify buying groups in general and what they engage with different kinds of content, and what does it work to get them to a pipeline stage, right? Is it an event plus an SDR motion, or is it a different playbook? So just trying to figure out if there are any patterns to see, hey, this account at this particular segment, at this particular size needs 4 to 5 touch points, and these involve A, B, C, D to get there. That's the kind of math we are doing to ensure that we are optimizing our strategy. But there are a few more things on the content distribution side as well, right? In terms of using our video assets to help us create more personalized video content for the prospects and send it across to them. But those are the two main things we're experimenting right now. Nothing crazy as of now.
How about you, Shannon? What's top of mind for you as you think about pipe gen, which is P1 always for CMOs, but it's been hard this last year.
It's going to be hard.
That are tried and true for you?
Well, so here's what I will say, and it's probably like unpopular opinion. Like I think next year, I think last year was hard for all marketers. I think I don't see it. I don't see the skies opening with joy for marketers anytime soon. So in some ways that's bad. In some ways I do think it has taught us, me in particular, to get back to basics. And it goes back to, what is our message? What is our value? And how do we tell that as clearly and pithily and emotionally as possible to our customers? And so for us, it's like, rebuilding the playbook on how you connect with these people. Where are the events that you meet them? What is the message that you tell them? How do you show them similar customer stories, right? And really building campaigns around that. Like there's elements that we need to make sure we have in each campaign for it to be successful. It's the message, it's the customer story, it's the medium or the venue that we're doing at, and just being laser focused on what is resonating with our customers. So and then again, it's like maybe not a new motion, but AI is helping us do that faster.
Mm-hmm. I know somebody was talking about when it's spring and there's snow everywhere and you're looking for those shoots of grass. You're like, I think I see one. Like, I think I see spring is coming. But we don't know if it is yet. So I think we're all kind of bracing for a longer winter. But I do think we've learned a lot this last year of like the back to basics. What works? What doesn't? How do we, because, you know, rewind 2 years ago or 3 years ago, in more euphoric times, we were more indulgent. We were probably spending more. We probably had bigger team. But this year, it was kind of a reset. And I think we're entering 2024 probably with more confidence than we entered 2023. 2023, the world changed, AI emerged. It was kind of scary. And now it's like, okay, we kind of know what we're probably getting at over the next 6 months.
And I will say one thing though, like the difference for me, which has been nice, like events are back and in-person events, right? Like, and that to me, it's like, okay, like we kind of missed that for several years with COVID. And of course, we're marketers. We did amazing virtual events and people still go to virtual events. There's value in that. But like having those forums to really engage with your customers and bring them together, like we have seen tremendous success. And that's a huge cornerstone of our strategy next year. It's like getting in front of people and getting that feedback, which is still that sort of like that special secret sauce of marketing that we love so much.
Yes, we missed it. And Shannon, I'd love to hear any type of event that you're particularly excited about, because we're doing our planning for next year and we're looking at trade shows, we're looking at owned events that are larger customer conferences, you know, executive dinners, like bringing those back for deal acceleration. Is there a certain bucket?
We're doing all of them. We're doing all of them because we've seen, if you talk about those green shoots, Maura, we're seeing the green shoots with all of them, if that makes sense. And so I look at them in sort of like kind of like 3 buckets, like you said. There is, you know, at scale, which are the big trade shows. There's sort of more targeted, which is the industry strategy. And how do you make sure you then, if you go to an industry event, it's not just enough to go to an industry event. What's your demo in that industry? What are your use cases in the industry? Those dinners for, you know, pipe mat and relationship building. And also Asana piloted our first buyer event this past month, like our own, call it the Work Innovation Summit. And that's tremendous. Like it is our moment to own the stage, our moment to really, you know, put a stake in the ground and talk about our point of view. And that was, you know, very, very well received. So how do we scale and grow that program over the next year?
That's great. And Kishore, events are obviously in your wheelhouse. You guys kind of grew up during COVID. You took center stage with virtual events, but I know you guys are expanding into in-person events. I think we're using your field marketing reg page for something coming up. So how are you thinking about the balance of virtual versus in-person events, especially as we go into 2024?
100%, Maura. I think so. One, the key buckets of investment for us from an event standpoint is we'll do digital, but we are going big on a few conferences. Earlier, we used to spray and pray that let's go to every trade show, do a small party with some partners, and it didn't work. So doing few, you know, important events like Forrester, Gartner, going big on them, and then a lot of them is smaller dinners and events. I just particularly believe that these smaller roadshows and dinners are a lot more effective than spending $1 million or a couple of million on a big conference, right? I just think that those connections are just so tough to replicate, and it's easier to form a point of view with those people. So our strategy is around go big on a few conferences, plan these smaller intimate field marketing events and roadshows across a few cities, and then use digital to cover the awareness standpoint and get more people know about Goldcast.
I would just add one thing on that, like, because like what we're finding, it's not just enough to do a dinner, right? Like I can go to any restaurant, I can have dinner by myself. Like it's like, what are we talking about? Like what is the topic? What is the subject? Who are the people I'm going to meet? And that's what I'm seeing separate sort of a dinner from a strategic pipe maturation event is what are we talking about? Who am I meeting? What am I taking away at the end of that dinner?
Yeah. No, that's a great point, Sharon. And on that point, just to add to the point, we did multiple different formats. One is a small happy hour, which nobody came. And one is a format where we had a panel discussion with a customer talking about how their lives are going to be changed by a particular topic. And people were a lot more receptive to that because they had learning something from the dinner and not just steak and like, you know, good food. It's some learning involved in those dinners as well. So very, very effective format if you're thinking about these field dinners and roadshows. Have a panel discussion and then have a small breakout after that.
That's the magic when you can get a customer and like a late stage prospect talking to each other. There's nothing better.
Formula.
So we're going to close out, but would love to hear crystal ball as you look to 2024. What do you think is next for AI in marketing? And if you don't have a game-changing answer, that's okay too. But where do you think AI is going to take us as marketers next year?
Shannon, any thoughts from you?
I think it's going to continue to evolve. I think it will. I think it will start evolving a little bit faster. I think the marketing departments that are going to, like, I don't want to say win, but are truly going to like differentiate themselves are the ones that are going to build a culture of experimentation and comfortableness with the unknown, and really revolutionize how they change the way they do marketing, how they can crack that code and maybe getting that content just a little like more precise, more emotionally connection. And so it's kind of a race a little bit, but I kind of think of that as fun to figure that out. And then it's really going to be for all those tools that we use every day. It's like, how quickly can the vendors that we use, we all have similar tech stacks, how can they put that technology in to make our lives easier?
It's awesome. I wish a world more where we have a co-pilot for every one of us, where I can just ask questions and it sort of magically throws me answers. For example, if a campaign gets over, right, I can just ask a question, how many of my target accounts came to the event, and it just answers me a question instead of going to a marketing ops person and getting a report or something like that, right? So really exciting advancements happening in the whole space. But I also want to make sure that folks don't get pressurized to adopt AI technologies. It's not a lifesaver or a game saver. It obviously helps in a lot of ways, but I think we just have to do our own individual jobs as well, and apart from the whole transformation that is happening right now.
Kishore, my answer would be very similar to yours, is like generative analytics. Like, how did this work? And just spit it out without having to like dig through the data or tap your marketing ops person's shoulder. Well, this was fantastic. Kishore and Shannon, thank you guys so much for joining us today at Pipeline Summit AI at our CMO Roundtable. Again, huge fans of both Goldcast and Asana, so it's really fun to all be together in person. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maura.